Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your boy JD6 here with my man. Shout out to KC Sports Authority. Make sure y'all go check that podcast out, man.
You heard the man. The rumor on the street is the border war has returned. Kansas versus Missouri this weekend in the fiercest of college football rivalries, and we are here to talk about it. Welcome into the KC Sports Authority podcast. If you're checking us out live over here on YouTube tonight, first off, thank you so much for joining us. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And the comment section is live and open for you tonight. We want all of your takes on this KU Missouri rivalry renewed, border war return matchup this week that we got going on. Make sure you also hit us up Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KCSA Pod. And if you're over on Twitter and you come across this tonight on our live stream on Twitter as well, retweet it, favorite it, give us a reply over there. We'd love to see all of your comments. And before we get started, I want to welcome in to our guest tonight, Daniel Courtwright with Kansas Nation. Dan, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Just doing just fine. Just, getting Kansas Nation kind of up and off the ground. If you haven't heard about it, 810, they're opening up a new video podcast studio on Mass Street. It's like a private event space, too. We got a pool table and a golden tee and a PlayStation. It's really, really cool. But, yeah, check us out everywhere at Kansas Nation, at the Kansas Nation, I believe it's on Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, we're all over the place. Me and Sean Kellerman, formerly of Rock Chalk Sports Talk, now with Rock Chalk Sports on Kansas Nation. So yeah, I know. Yes. So yeah, appreciate it. You having me on, man.
Shows every day, Monday through Friday?
Every day, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. If you're in the KC area, you can hear it on 1510 AM and 94.5 FM, ESPN Kansas City. Also live every day on our website at kansasnation.com. Also, I'm in the process of uploading today's podcast onto YouTube, but all of our shows will be there on YouTube. I had to hop on here first before I got that on YouTube. So, but yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to delay that video to come join this live and with us tonight. So any of you joining us live, if you got any questions for Dan, throw them in the chat. But let's get rolling, guys. It is a border war edition of college football this weekend. The return of one of the fiercest rivalries in all of sports, and not just sports. I mean, this goes beyond sports. We don't need to rehash the entire history of Kansas Mizzou because everybody should know that. But this goes beyond sports. Sports has carried the tradition of this hatred of states for the last couple hundred years, been on a hiatus for the last 13 years from the football standpoint. But super pumped for this game this weekend. We got a lot to talk about. But first, I thought I'd just float this out there. This is via KU Football Twitter, just to kind of get the juices flowing.
Racing with the ball. Here comes pressure. And he's flushed out of the pocket. He throws.
If you know, you know.
Touchdown! Touchdown! Terry Meyer!
If you know, you know.
Oh, man, Bob is the best.
Clearly 4K was not around back in 2010 with some of that grainy footage, but yeah, hair standing up, reaching to Terry Meyer. I know, obviously, that wasn't the last game that we saw Kansas and Mizzou. But from the peak of that rivalry, at least for most of us in our age for fandom. But guys, we got KU versus Mizzou this weekend for the first time since 2010, fall of 2010, that KU football, Missouri football are going to clash on the gridiron. We've seen it in basketball the last couple of years. They're finally getting football back. A couple of years that we're going to sign this deal to play with them. How are we feeling heading into the weekend?
Man, dude, this is I don't know. I don't know how to put this into words other than just to say, like, there's this massive euphoria coming over me. Like, as we get closer and closer to this game, I think there's a level of anxiety, but more than that, there's actually just pure excitement. It's pure joy that we're going against Missouri and we have a chance to prove ourselves. And I know that I have historically been a little bit pessimistic on this podcast with our with not only with football, with basketball too. You guys, I'm turning a new leaf, man. like I just feel all the positive vibes going into this game. I feel it. I feel like ready to take this on, and I feel like we're going to win. Spoiler alert! I might be changing my tune.
Dang, just
On
throw the whole
my
preview out the window, straight to predictions.
Yeah, I might just have to do that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is Kansas, this is Missouri, and it's more than a rivalry. You mentioned it. It's hatred. It's hatred between the two sides, and you feel that it's in the air. I think I talked before on our last recording or last time we went live about how somehow I've managed to befriend so many people that are Mizzou alums through my job at KMBC, and I I really love these guys. I love all my friends that are Mizzou alums. But this week is you can feel the tension in the air. And right now, I mean, we're talking, it's civil, but I know tomorrow and Friday it's going to get even more intense. And we're going to be talking some smack for sure. This is the game that we've been waiting for to really, really prove ourselves this season, and prove ourselves worthy of this caliber of a rivalry coming back and bringing juice into college football once again.
Yeah, super pumped. I mean, this is one we've been waiting for as a fan base for a long time. The reality, I mean, I'd still hear on Wednesday. The reality for me hasn't even set in yet that KU Mizzou is back, even if it's just for 3 seasons. But the fact that we're going to see these two programs on the field, hostile environment this weekend in Columbia, just looking forward to. But Dan, I know you've been talking over the last week, kind of prepping for this week. Anything changed for you in the last couple of days on the mindset as we get closer and closer to kickoff?
No, I still hate them. I mean, they're bad people. We were talking about this beforehand, where Austin was saying that he wants to be positive on social media, and I get that. That's great. And JB, I respect you having friends that are Missouri fans. I can't bring myself to do that. They're not good people, because I grew up just southwest of Lawrence, right? We had season tickets growing up. I went to every single home game, and my parents, they taught me not to hate unless it's a Missouri fan or a Missouri player, right? It's deeply ingrained into my bloodstream to, like, I try to not spend as any time in Missouri at all. My girlfriend's sister, she lives in St. Louis. I drive as far as I can. I get to Kingdom City. That's about as far as I can go until I have to fill up. That is how much I despise these people. I feel the ghost of Don Fambro taking over my body this year, because he hated them so much too. And by the way, Mizzou hates us just as much. There's old stories about
They
how
do.
Yeah, Mizzou football, they would stay in hotels in Kansas City on the Missouri side, so they didn't have to spend any money here in the state of Kansas. So none of their tax dollars went to the state of Kansas. I mean, these are true things. And yeah, you're talking about how it's civil and all the football aspect of things, but this thing goes back way farther. Talk about bleeding Kansas. Talk about William Quantrill burning down the city of Lawrence, right? Missouri natives coming across state lines to commit voter fraud to try to make Kansas a slave state. I mean, this thing goes really, really deep. I mean, it's more than just football at this point. It's in terms of, I said this on yesterday's show, it's good versus evil.
Yeah. 100%.
I love that.
And here, let me throw you guys this too, because I'd forgotten about this until this week. So my entire family, both my mom's side and my dad's side, all from Missouri. All of them Missouri fans. We love them as family, but every year, I'm always wearing a KU shirt when we would go over to see them, do everything, get them riled up, and get me riled up. So one year, my dad and I, we were talking about the history of our family. He goes, he found somewhere back in his family line that somebody on his side of the family was part of the group of ruffians from Missouri that came over to Lawrence. And he's not for sure if they rode during that one and actually burned down Lawrence, but they were known for being in Quantrill's party and running around with them. So the hatred also runs deep, in the family there too, because they're all from Missouri, been in Lawrence my entire life. So this is like you said, this goes beyond sports. This goes beyond just everyday life. This has been rooted in good versus evil for several hundred years now, and we get to see these two teams clash on the field, which the sad thing is, though, is really nobody on either program right now that's going to be playing this game has any sort of real feel for what this rivalry has been over the years, what this hatred has been. Both teams have had different former players and coaches come in and kind of get them excited and share stories about it. So you just kind of hope the passion's there. I think KU is going to be super locked in. I think they're going to be fired up. I think they have enough leadership guys on this team and guys that are on the team that grew up in Lawrence who have family that even if they never saw KU play Mizzou, or were too young to remember much of it, they were here long enough to know that this is an intense rivalry. So looking forward to it. I wanted to kind of kick this segment because Dan is on the show. You've got your Courtwright corner, you've got your top 10 lists. I want to do kind of a version of that.
Yeah.
And Austin's back with us. But thought this would be fun. Going back in history for a minute, let's go back to 2010 and just kind of do where were they then? So I'm going to give you guys a couple categories, and I want you to see how many of the things you could come up with of, the top 10, top 5, top 3, whatever you come up with in these categories that were at peak popularity the last time these two teams played. Before we do that, quick shout out to 2K Mastermind, going to the Game Boys. This will be my son's first Miss Who game. I don't know what the first
Who.
Miss Who. I love it.
I love that.
What a great game to take him to, by the way. Have fun at the game. Be safe. Have fun. So let's get into go ahead.
I just have to say, I thought I was the smartest person in the world. When I know Ms. Who has been a thing for a while. I've learned that, but before I learned that, I didn't say Ms. Who, but my variation of it was like, I would mock them as they chant M-I-Z. I'd be like, M-I-Z-Z-O who or whatever. Like, I would say that. I thought it was so clever. I thought it was so smart. And then I ended up looking like the biggest idiot. I'm just outing myself right now to our entire fan base. But that's the only appropriate response to whenever they chant M-I-Z. Just go, who? Anyway.
They're going to have all sorts of wild chance. It'd be so great.
Well, I've got a different way of answering that, JB, but I can't say that.
That's the PG version, I should say. Well,
yeah, and the rated R version is M-I-Z-Z. You know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yes,
that's the rated R version.
All right. Well, let me get you guys some categories, and Dan, I'm going to kick this off with you in honor of your segment on your show.
Sweet.
2010, fall 2010. There was a different generation of music at the time. A lot of good music to those that enjoyed it back then. A lot of interesting people. Let's see if you can come up with any of the top 10 songs from fall 2010. And I'll give you guys a little bit of help along the way. But everyone think on that for a moment. I'm going to start it off with Dan. Think who was popular in 2010, what songs might have been around. Let's see how many of these you guys can come up with.
I'm leaning towards like Mumford and Sons. Like that feels like that kind of era. But also I'm like Lady Gaga. I mean, she's right there. Like Disco Stick. Oh man, what are some other? You and I, by the way, banger. If you're ever at a bar or something, they got touch tunes. You and I by Lady Gaga, so good. Man, I gotta go because that was
you're on the right track for sure with Lady Gaga style music.
So that was a little bit before the stomp clap era, right? The hipster era. That's like 2012-y, where they're wearing like the fake glasses and the flannels and all that stuff.
Yeah, about.
Okay. Lady Gaga. Oh my gosh. Who else was big back in 2010? I'm trying to think of like LMFAO, maybe.
Oh my god!
Just about that, yeah, about the same time. They weren't on my list for this, but that's about this. I think 2012 is more than them.
Yeah, Party Rock Anthem, dude. That's another heater. That feels like young Justin Bieber to me. Like, yeah, okay.
Baby, this was peak Baby.
Yeah,
going viral.
The
Justin Bieber or Zac Efron, Troy Bolton hairstyle.
Oh man, yeah. I had that hairstyle until like a year ago. So
and Bob, Taylor Swift. Yes, there's a Taylor Swift song on this. It's probably not one you guys would guess from that time. But.
What about Teardrops on My Guitar? Love Story, just some other good. Man, there's some good music from back then. I'll be honest. Is that still in her country phase, or was she? Was she
She was entering the pop stage.
She was.
Because that's what I was going to tell you guys is think peak pop music is where this era really takes off in 2010.
Bruno
And
Mars.
anybody in the chat, feel free to throw any suggestions too.
I feel like I have to say this before anyone else throws this out. Maybe this is out of left field, but I feel like summer of 2010 was really big for me. I used to listen to rap and R&B the most back then. I was living in St. Louis at the time. Don't miss that at all. By the way, Dan, I don't miss that at all. But Hot 104.1, St. Louis's only home for hip hop and R&B. That was that was what I was always tuned into. And in the summer of 2010, they played nonstop "There Goes My Baby" by Usher.
Ooh, that's
I will not sing it.
Was not on my list.
It's going on in my head.
How does it go?
I don't know if I want to sing it on here. I have a decent singing voice, but I can't go that high.
You sparked something to me. What about Jay Sean? Down with him and Lil Wayne?
Oh my god!
I think that would have been that again. Not on this list, but
I want to say it was like 09 or something.
Man,
maybe like 08 almost. But
Austin, you got me to throw this way before I mention a couple.
I mean, I don't really remember a whole lot of music from 2010, even though I was like 8 years old. So I mean, I wasn't really recognizing like titles and stuff like that. I wasn't memorizing that stuff. So
my god, dude!
Yeah, his top 10 list, his top 10 songs in 2010 were like Elmo, like Pop.
The wheels on the bus go round.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I was listening to that at 8 years old. Come on now.
8-year-olds today, man, they listen to some intense stuff. But number one hit single, fall 2010, Katy Perry, "Teenage Dream."
How did I miss?
Man.
Wait.
Again, that's why you got to think peak teenage pop star vibes. Number 2 on the list was "Love the Way You Lie," Eminem and Rihanna.
That's
classic from that time. Bruno Mars comes in at number 3 with "Just the Way You Are." I totally remember singing that over and over. Every girl you had a crush on during that, you were singing that too.
Yeah, that was my song with my girlfriend back in 7th grade. Man, how could I forget the one that got away?
Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
Wait, can we hear a little bit more about the one who got away?
No, I don't want. It's too.
It's too emotional. Too emotional. It's a lot of emotions to bring up.
Bruno,
we got to save those emotions for the football game. Enrique Iglesias and Pitbull. "I Like It." I like it. I guess I like it. Anyway. Oh, here you go. Yeah, what'd you say the Usher song was earlier?
"There Goes My Baby."
Okay, not that one, but DJ Got Us Falling in Love Again.
Oh man.
Okay.
2010. Nelly, "Just a Dream." Throwback.
Yeah.
That one I still see that one on Reels today.
Oh, wait a minute. It got to be before you say Kesha. Got to be on there.
She is.
Let's
number
go.
8 on the list. "Take It Off." Kesha was number. I think she also had like number 12 or number 13 too. And then the Taylor Swift, as mentioned, Taylor Swift was number 10. I don't remember this off the top of my head right now, and I'm sure it's just because the lyrics aren't coming to my mind. But "Mine" was her top song in 2010, fall 2010. "Forget You," CeeLo Green. I think that would have been about 2010.
That sounds about right.
We are all young because we are all within 3 or 4 years of each other. Austin, I think
Austin's the baby.
Austin's the baby of this group.
I'm 23, about to be 24.
What else do you guys remember before we go to another category? Anything you remember about 2010? Like for me, that would have been sophomore year of high school. Just the wildness of high school time. But I remember sports being a fun time in the fall because you're coming off the KU national championship a couple years before. Football was still at its peak. Royals were not very good at baseball whatsoever. But I remember the vibes being pretty high sophomore year of high school.
Was Matt Castle the quarterback for the Chiefs back then?
2010.
Let's go, man.
AFC West, baby. 10-6.
Yeah, that's true. 2010, I remember like neon green glasses with like the shades on them, you know? Like I'm thinking like when I think of 2010, I think of like LMFAO, like the bright patterns and the, you know,
the bright patterns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what, according to ChatGPT, the bright neon colors were popular in 2010. Remember silly bands? Anybody have silly bands?
Yep.
Oh, I had those all the time.
During that time. That was before the fidget spinner era, just before.
Oh man, I got those silly bands in my safe in case there were some.
No. It was like
something like 2014. All right, let's go to another category. How about the most popular movies that hit the box office in 2010? This could be throughout the entire year.
I'm not the movie guy.
So I'm gonna go right away and say 8 of them are probably Adam Sandler movies. That feels like peak Adam Sandler, like 2010.
Not a single Adam Sandler movie.
One. Okay.
Snap.
Now let's see. Of the 10 that I have, 3 of them are definitely geared. Or I'm sorry, 4 of them are definitely geared towards children, and then the rest of them would be more adult type.
I'm gonna throw a weird one out. High School Musical 3. Please.
Not on this list. I think that was 2011 or 2012 because I feel like I was still in high school when that hit.
Was your high school just like High School Musical, by the way, Keegan?
No.
Oh, mine.
Now in choir, like we did Showtime in the spring. So Showtime in the spring was a week long, couple nights. That was High School Musical for a week. You know, the 2-3 weeks leading up to prepare 100%.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because that's where I remember doing. I don't think I was in it, but we did the Baby by Justin Bieber that year.
Oh, nice.
That spring.
Let me think.
Anybody in the chat too? Top movies you think you can remember from 2010? Again, about half of these would be kids movies, half of them more geared towards adults.
The Dark Knight Rises. Did that?
Not 2010.
When did Superbad come out?
Ooh, that's like 2006.
Not 2010.
Is that way too okay? I don't know movies.
Okay, I'm gonna throw one out there because this is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love the drama, the intensity, the suspense. Inception comes out in 2010. 837 million was what it grossed at the box office. That came in at number 4 that year.
I remember watching that as a kid and I felt so dumb. And then I watched it as an adult again. I was like, okay, I get it now. But the first time I was like,
I would love for them to have a finish off of what actually happens at the end of that. Not to spoil for anybody that hasn't seen it, but Inception 2.
Spoilers for a 15-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Man. So 2010, that was Inception.
I'll give you a hint, Dan, because number 1 on this list showed up on a list you and Sean did within the last week. Sean mentioned it as one of the only movies he's probably seen a lot. Because you were making fun of him for the little movies he has seen in his lifetime.
Right. He is not. Yeah, no, it's a short damn list, too. It is a short list of movies that Sean has watched. Oh, my gosh. It would have been Benchwarmers. Is it a sports movie or no?
No, think him and his daughter. He mentioned his daughter. This is one of her go-tos.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 was the number 1 movie in 2010, grossing $1.067 billion in the box office.
Well, Sean's a big Toy Story guy. By the way, he uses his daughter as a deflection. He just watches it.
But Toy Story number 1, Inception was number 4. There's a couple more on here. You guys should all know. There's one Marvel movie. Not one of the top ones, but there's a good.
What about The Departed?
No, I think that was a couple years later.
Oh man, banger of a movie.
2 really big book series had movies in this year. One of them was one of the final movies of its series.
I don't know, Harry Potter.
Deathly Hallows.
Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Okay, well, I just threw that out.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Oh, Hunger Games.
Hunger Games did not finish top 10. But there was a similar book series that found the hearts of many young teenage girls that came out that summer.
It's Twilight.
Twilight Saga. Eclipse came out that year.
Bob got
Iron
that
Man
in the
2
comments. Good job.
was the Marvel one. Iron Man 2.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Rob. Shoot, I didn't. My bad, Bob. I didn't post that in time. You did get Twilight. Fast and Furious was not top 10. Great cartoon movie with Steve Carell.
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me was number 9.
Love that movie.
Let's see. We've got the adult version of this children's story. Played a little funky, where our little brother might happen to have a connection because of the name of where K-State plays is similar to a name in the movie. Kind of. I'm really throwing a lot of letters around, but
I don't.
Purple and green, oddball stuff. Johnny Depp.
Purple and green. Wait, hold on.
This director and executive producer tends to make some darker style films that are semi-horror, but this one wasn't necessarily a horror movie.
Is it a Tim Burton movie?
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp.
I might be wrong on that being Johnny Depp, but I'm.
Bro,
I'm thinking of a different Tim. I'm thinking of a different Tim Burton movie. That
Live action. It's a live action.
Live action.
A cartoon
of a children's story.
Pokemon.
Well, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was a good guess. You're on the right line of thinking, but even more adult style. Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have come up with that one. Number 10 on the list, How to Train Your Dragon. And I don't remember when How to Train Your Dragon 2 came out, but 15 years ago, the first one came out. And the last one I had on this list, number 5, was Shrek Forever After.
Also, was in diapers back then.
One of my favorite categories. Those little hamper pull-ups.
He hasn't contributed to this movie conversation at all.
Well,
diapers back then.
He might be able to contribute to this one.
I had something good for 2010, like things I remember about 2010.
So, throw it out there.
Well, I'd love to. So, okay, listen, I became self-aware whenever I was like 5 or 6 years old. Okay. So let me get that out of the way. I was out of diapers when I was like 2 years old or 1 year. I don't even know. I don't remember. Okay. That doesn't matter. Anyways, back to the 2010 story. So, as you guys know, Daniel, I don't know if you know this. I was born in Lubbock, so I grew up a Texas Tech fan. Lived there for 15 years before moving up to Kansas City, and then eventually finding my way to Lawrence for school. Yeah. So back in 2010, this was Tommy Tuberville's first year with Texas Tech. This was like post Mike Leach era. You know, it was pretty depressing. Not gonna lie, I didn't really agree with the firing of Mike Leach. I mean, I've got a whole backstory to that. So, and I've got a personal connection with that story too, actually. So, in 2010,
coach.
Yeah. So in 2010, Texas Tech played host to a specific team. They were ranked, and they happened to wear gold and black, and they happened to have a quarterback named Blaine Gabbert. So Tech played Mizzou that night, and I could just tell, the feeling in the air and walking into that stadium. Everybody thought we were going to get blown out by Mizzou. And it was a late night kickoff. I believe it was like a 7:30, 8 o'clock kickoff. It was really late. I don't know why, but it was a good game actually. And Tech ended up winning 24-17. And I rushed the field with my dad, and we celebrated with all the players, and it was a good time. And that was the first time I had ever watched Mizzou football play, and they lost. So it was wonderful.
They were a top 10 team that year, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. If I remember correctly, I think. Like that game specifically, I think they were like 16 or 17, but I think they only finished with like 2 or 3 losses. They won like
Gary Pinkel era. Yeah, that was when Mizzou athletics was probably at their peak of Gary Pinkel and Mike Anderson with football and basketball, 2010 to 2013. Oh, we lost Dan. We'll see if we'll get him back. But let's move on to our next category. Then we got to talk some actual football because that's what this episode is supposed to be about. Oh, there we go. We got Dan back.
Woo!
There, guys.
You're good. Let's get into our final category, and then we'll talk some football here. How about video games that came out 2010?
Oh my God.
Let's go back to some of
might-
the peak. This
I have
is
some answers.
great for me because this goes back to some of my favorite times. But there's
Call
going
of
to
Duty
be
Black Ops 2.
Black Ops 1.
Black Ops 1.
Comes out in 2010. That was the
roll-up.
headliner for the year. But you've got some classics, some solid games on here, some solid series that put forth some fantastic games that year.
I mean, I'm just gonna go with Madden 11, right?
Ah,
I mean, just
That's cheating.
Let's see who was on the cover of Madden 11.
it wasn't Fitzgerald and whoever the Steeler player was. That was 2010.
Polamalu. It was 2010.
Or Polamalu. Yeah.
2011 would have been. Was that the return of Mike Vick to the Eagles?
No, I don't think so.
I wouldn't put him on Madden though.
No, he wouldn't have been. Chris
2012
Johnson.
was Peyton Hillis.
I think it was Chris Johnson.
2012 was Peyton Hillis. Okay.
Yeah.
Keegan, can I throw out Super Mario Galaxy 2?
Super Mario was on the list. It was the Wii version of Super Mario something.
Oh,
New
Now
Super
it's not
Mario
popping up
Bros.
for me.
for the Wii.
I've got a
I gotta
Wii right
find
over
it.
here.
I've got a Wii behind me.
Super Mario was on the
Somewhere.
list.
I've had that one since I was in diapers.
2010. Wow.
Bob is onto it here.
Oh,
Middle of the Halo,
Halo,
series.
brother.
Halo Reach came out in 2010. That's
That
for
was a
me
lame one, though.
when the Halo,
I-
yeah.
I have a memory of a neighbor playing this around this time. What about Red Dead Redemption?
Yes, they number 2.
Huge, man. I never played it. It looked it kind. You gonna be honest, it kind of looked boring to me. I guess.
I had a friend that really loved it. I never got into it personally. But yeah, Red Dead, or not Red Dead. I don't know why I said Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption was one of them. Dead Rising 2 was the other one I was thinking of.
Can I go Pokemon Black and White 2?
You're close. Pokemon came out with 2 remastered games that year. Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Oh man, come on! I should know my Pokemon.
And then one of my favorite series of all time to play, because campaign mode on this storyline was awesome, but Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. One of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. We got Gran Turismo 5, Medal of Honor came out, Fable 3, to name some of them. And then, I forgot to mention this. Some of the other things in 2010 that we might take for granted now. The rise of smartphones. iPhone 4 launches in summer of 2010. The first ever iPad gets launched in 2010. Look where we are now.
wow.
I don't even use an iPad anymore.
Facebook hit 500 million users in 2010. And Twitter just finally hit the mainstream, trending with hashtags and celebrity uses. And of course, that's also about the same time that YouTube started to take off with a lot of their creators in videos. Fun throwback to 2010. Where was KU football in 2010? Oh my gosh, they were beginning the dumpster fire free fall that became the 2010 decades. Turner Gill, goes I think 5-18 in his stretch during that time. 2010 Kansas team had a lot of interesting players on it. A lot of them we were young. I was telling that to Dan before we started recording. A lot of good guys on that team. Ben Heaney was a freshman, just the beginning of his career. But you had a pretty deep team. One of the strongest offensive lines KU's had in their time. Decent skill position players. Jordan Webb was at quarterback. One of the all-time great James Sims at running back. One of my favorite players, and Dan said he mentioned it on his show earlier, but Tobin O'Purum, D end and fullback, a little bit of both ways. But you had some NFL players on the team, Bradley McDougall, Dexter McDonald, to name a couple. Just never clicked. 2010 was the first year after going to a bowl game at the Insight Bowl.
2009, right? 5-7.
Yeah.
2009.
One of those 2 years. I might get the year mixed up, but they go to the Orange Bowl, Insight Bowl, and then they start to decline. Turner Gill, terrible. 5-7. Missouri wins, I think 24-10 or something like that. That game wasn't really close. And then Mizzou started to take off from there because they joined the SEC and played pretty decent football for the next 10 years, where KU went to a dumpster fire free fall, one of the most depressing 10-year stretches of any athletic program, professional team, minor league team, you name it, one of the worst 10-year stretches we've ever seen. All that to be said, we now get Lance Leipold. Travis Goff has done tremendous things in the last couple of years, and that gets us all back to KU versus Mizzou this weekend. This game, I think, should have been college football game day instead of Oklahoma, Michigan. I understand big matchup, Oklahoma, Michigan. Bryce Underwood's a big deal. Oklahoma, everyone's intrigued by them. Can they actually make a dent into the SEC this year? But come on, this is one of the oldest, most passionate, intense sports rivalries in the history of college athletics. This should have been a no-brainer. Whether these teams were ranked or not, this should have been a no-brainer college football. So that's disappointing for that game day's not there. But the hype coming into this matchup, I think, is through the roof. You've got two teams that are fighting for a potentially big season. Mizzou's got a lot on the line going into this weekend. Be competing for the SEC championship, college football playoff. They are considered the better program nationally speaking right now. They are on a decent trajectory forward. They have the biggest goofball of a head coach in Eli Drinkwitz, but he has done a solid job in his several years there with them. They've recruited pretty well. They've got a really, really good defensive line, a solid defense overall. They'll be a top 5 defense in the SEC, probably, top 10 defense overall. So Mizzou's a really good team. But KU also has looked pretty solid in its first 2 weeks. Granted, one of them was against Wagner, but against Fresno State, which they are not getting enough credit for. Fresno State, despite new head coach, new coordinators, new quarterback, this was a team that has been to 4 straight bowl games in the last 4 seasons. So not a bad team by any means. They came out, looked good the first 5.5 minutes, and then it was all downhill from there because KU took over. But you got two teams about to come head-to-head clashing this weekend. Nationally, I think KU's getting a lot more of a chance than they did several weeks ago. I don't remember where this line opened, but it's been floating around 6. I want to say it was up to 8.5 at one point. So clearly the 2 games KU has played have given Vegas at least enough of confidence that KU's offense can put up some numbers against Missouri's defense. But heading into this matchup, Dan, let me start with you there. Just thoughts on the rivalry, the game being back, what this means for both programs, what it means for college football, and then maybe who's got the most at stake.
That's a great ending to that question because I said this on air at least twice or maybe 3 times this week that whoever wins this game is going to be ranked afterwards. That's how much I think is at stake here. Either if KU wins, they're probably going to be ranked. If Mizzou wins, they're probably going to be ranked. The fact that this is back, and Keegan, I agree with you 1,000% about how this should have been college game day. I have no idea what thought process went into that. Yeah, sure. Oklahoma, Michigan, whatever. It's going to be fine. But Oklahoma wasn't good last year, and Michigan also wasn't good last year. So I think when you bring back a rivalry of this caliber for the first time since 2010, 2011, something like that, I think that should have more national eyes on it than, non-rivalry like OU and Michigan. But I think in terms of what's at stake here, Kansas is going to learn a lot about themselves in this game. And like you said, week 0, technically, I keep on considering that week 1, even though it was week 0 against Fresno State. Fresno State's a pretty good team, right? They had E.J. Warner, who is a proven guy, right? They had a good rushing attack. They had Matt Entz, who, he won a bunch of national championships at North Dakota State. Had a great career at USC. Now he's the head coach at Fresno State. Just because he's a first-year coach doesn't mean he's not a good coach. He's a great coach. And obviously they lost last year in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl to NIU, who also did beat the national runner-up in Notre Dame. So there is something to that, right? There's at least a little bit to that. Now, granted, it's a lot of turnover on that squad for Fresno State, but still, for Kansas to go out there week 0 and win every facet of that game was really impressive. But there's still a lot of question marks that were unanswered, right? Like Amir Herring and Tavake Tuikilovatu at that left guard spot, right? You had Nolan Gorsica and Enrique Cruz rotating at the right tackle spot. You had different rotational pieces on the defense as well. And granted, we saw in the second game, week 1, game 2 against Wagner, we saw Dean Miller finally get some action out there. We saw Jaleel Hurley and DJ Graham finally get some play. So I think that was good to see those rotational pieces. And now I think Kansas is coming into this Missouri game really looking like what they want to look like. Now, there are still those question marks, right? Lance had even said about, he likes the way that the offensive line rotation is going. So they're not going to have a solidified starter per se. They're going to have a starter, but they're still going to be rotating Amir Mbake. They're still going to be rotating Nolan and Enrique Cruz as well. My main concern with this game, there's one piece of this game where I think Kansas can either win or lose the game, and it's going to come on the defensive rushing attack, right? Because Bo Prabula, he can do it on his legs. We saw he had 130 some odd yards rushing. He, had a couple rushing touchdowns as well. Ahmad Hardy is a really good running back from ULM transfer. He had 100 yards. Now, granted, they played UCA, right? They played Central Arkansas, an FCS school, of course. They're a good team. Right. So it's all going to come down to whether or not Kansas can really contain that rushing attack by them. Now, you have confidence because Dean Miller is coming back with game reps now, right? Leroy Harris is playing phenomenal. You saw Tommy Dunn and DJ Withers in the middle really getting penetration, but they haven't gotten those TFLs yet. I'm really anticipating this. But at the same time, this is going to be the toughest offensive line that they're going to be going against. And yeah, sure. Mizzou, they lost a top 10 pick in the NFL draft this year to the Jets, right? Armand Mambu. But at the same time, they're still going to be reloading. This is still an SEC offensive line. So as I want to be the, blind optimist and say, like Adam said, Kansas by $1 billion. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be really, really tough, right? It's going to be incredibly tough for Kansas to win this game. Now, my heart is telling me Kansas is going to, destroy them and win by $1 billion. My brain is telling me it's going to be a really close game, and it's all going to come down to that one facet, and that's if Kansas can stop the rush.
Yeah, I agree. This is we've said every KU outlet has said over the last 6 to 8 weeks that KU's defensive front seven, specifically that front line, is probably the deepest it's been in recent history. They've got guys from every single spot in the line that they can throw out there and compete at a high D1 level. I've been saying for the last 2 years that I think that's one of the most impressive things this coaching staff has done. Credit to Lance Leipold and Coach Gildersleeve. The guys that they put out there in the field now are not just, D3 to D2 guys that they scoop up and they try and develop. These are all guys that, regardless of where they came from, they look the part physically. So they've got the size to compete. They've got the athleticism. They've got the skill set. But yes, they are now going up against really, really good competition. We've kind of joked over the last week with different people that not only is this, KU versus Mizzou back in action, but this is kind of a test to KU for the long-term play of maybe the SEC comes knocking. Maybe KU starts knocking on the SEC's door over the next couple of years. And this is kind of a good, rough draft, I guess, of the first essay they're going to write on why they should go to the SEC if they want to, if that's what Brett Yormark and Travis Goff have discussed. Who knows? But you're going up against top of the line talent. Mizzou, as much as I hate to say it, they are a good football team. They are a good football program. They have been on an upward trajectory for several years now. Coach Drinkwitz has done a tremendous job bringing in talent, developing that talent, getting them to play hard. Even when, Luther Burden, one of the most talented wide receivers who had a tremendously down year last year compared to what he had, they were so talented across the board. It didn't matter as much. So KU's front seven is going to get a big test. And so is that offensive line. Like you said, they're going to have guys rotating still on the offensive line, which to me is scary going up against a defensive line like this. Maybe you find something that works, and the stuff that doesn't work, you can move on pretty quick from it. But this is a tough test. I always say football, I hate to be so cliche with it, but football is always won in the trenches. If you control the trenches, you're going to probably control most of the game. To your point here, if they can't stop the run, whether it's through the running back or through the quarterback, it's going to be a long game, and you're going to need the 80 to 90% completion percentage we've seen Jalen have so far to keep this in it, because Mizzou could run clock. They could chop up the game pretty easily in that fashion and make it a long night. Austin, coming into this game, what's kind of your biggest key to KU making this a competitive game and coming out on top?
Well, I think under Lance Leipold, KU has proven that they can go into tough environments and pull out wins. I mean, you look at last year, they went into number 6 BYU, an undefeated football team at night. Like that's probably the worst time to play BYU on the road, I'd say. And
I think when we recorded that too, we didn't have any confidence they were going in and gonna make any noise.
We didn't, but I mean, shoot, I mean, the ball bounced our way finally. I mean, after what happened in the first few weeks, but. I mean, I just think, with how KU has performed in tough environments, I mean, for the most part, they've done well. I think they've done better. Obviously, to start, they weren't as competitive, but, as the years went on, they've been, more competitive in these types of environments. But, Missouri, they've won, I think, 21 games in the last 2 years, I believe. Is that right?
Sounds right.
Yep.
Probably.
So I mean, they've had recent success. Missouri's defense is probably my main concern. For Kansas, going up against their defense, they're going to be tough up front, and as long as they can protect Daniels, I think the offense will have a solid day. But it's gonna come down to how the run game really goes. I think if they can establish a solid running game, I think they'll be in more of a flow. But if Jalen's throwing the ball a million times, I don't know. I'd be a little bit concerned, for the offense, but defensively, I know we're also thin at the linebacker position. That really scares me. I mean, we might have to play a freshman out there. If we have to do that, oh boy, that's my biggest worry, honestly. For our defense, but yeah, I think just over the past few seasons, Kansas has proved they can go into tough environments and at least make it a competitive game. So. But yeah, Missouri, as much as I hate to say it as well, they're a very good football team. And this is going to be, I mean, there's been some talk about this, I would argue that this is the biggest KU football game under Lance Leipold. I mean, the other two I'd say that are right behind this game would be 2023 K-State, even though we lost that game, because there was a lot riding on that game. I mean, both. Yeah, I know that the end result was disappointing, but I mean, both teams, had the same record. It was the final game at the booth. You guys remember how intense that game was. I mean, I was there and I was in the student section. I mean, it was unbelievable. And, for KU to have to play a third string quarterback, I thought they played well, but I mean, unfortunately just, didn't go our way. And then the other game, I mean, probably OU and KU in 2023, sure. The homecoming game. I'd say that's probably the other biggest game that we've had under Lance. You could throw in BYU too if you want from last year, but I mean, yeah, there's just some of the games that we've had, in terms of the biggest games under Lance Leipold for KU football. But I mean, this game, I mean, man, and there's also been some debates too. Is the Missouri game more important than the K-State game, or would you rather see KU, beat, Mizzou, or would you rather see them beat K-State? And we've talked about this before too, but man, if I had to pick right now, I mean, since it is game week, I would rather see KU beat Mizzou. I mean, shoot, I would love to see our football team get revenge for what the basketball team, did to our basketball team. I mean, shoot, that was rough to watch. I mean, so if our football team can go in there and get revenge for our basketball team, I think it'd be very nice.
Play the clip, Keegan. Didn't Austin just last week go, I don't want to hear anything about 17 straight. I mean,
I don't want to hear anything about 17 straight, but at the same time, I mean, Missouri is the biggest rival of KU. So, I mean, of course. But I've said in the past, I'm kind of contradicting myself with that. I mean, it's probably because we're in game week, but why don't I just say I want KU to beat both teams?
There you go. Take the cop out answer.
K-State week. See what he says.
I want us to beat.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say.
Well, the thing I hear all the time is there's this narrative that's floating out there that okay. The difference between the rivalries is that there's pure hatred between Kansas and Missouri, and then it's a big brother, little brother thing between KU and K-State. That's the big narrative. And there's this huge group of KU fans that are saying, oh yeah, anytime I watch K-State, I root for them unless they're playing KU. What? I'm sorry. Look, and maybe it's because I'm from Chicago. Maybe it's because I grew up in the St. Louis area as well, and then came over to Lawrence for college. But like, I didn't grow up with the rivalry, but that makes no sense to me. For one, a rivalry is a rivalry, and I don't know. The fact that we play K-State every year, I still have to say I'd rather beat K-State, but this Mizzou game, man.
So here's what I think the difference is when you talk about rivalries, because you could argue that Iowa State is one of our fiercest rivals right now because of the back and forth intensity we've had in basketball games. With that, I think when you look at K-State and Mizzou, yes, there's the big brother, little brother sentiment of KU to K-State for sure. We've never taken them or their fan base or their athletic program seriously ever at any level because
I don't root for K-State ever.
They're just a joke. But K-State as a program, football only, has been the better program for the last 15, 20 years. So they have the edge on that. But I think when I look at K-State and I look at Mizzou, I would sum it up like this. Mizzou, the feelings are hatred, like you have all talked about. That runs deep to the core, to the blood inside your veins. There's history. There's blood that has been spilled over that rivalry. So there's pure hatred between those two, even if it's not as existent today in today's fan because they didn't have it the last 10 years. So that's still there. I think the K-State thing, it's more like you're just annoyed by them. Like they're annoying. They're, hey, I want to hang out with you and your friends. Why can't I hang out? And again, they've been the better football program for the last 15 years. But you just always find yourself annoyed by K-State. It's like, man, they won again. Like, this just pisses me off. Can you just get out of my face? Like Mizzou, it's like, no, I want to beat you and stomp you into the curb, break you down to the bones, hatred. So I think that's the difference. Now, again, we have not seen that with Mizzou for the last 12, 15 years, give or take. So it'll be interesting to see Saturday what the atmosphere is like. I'm sure there's still going to be plenty of Mizzou fans that have a history of anti-KU their whole life that are going to be there. But there's probably also a ton of Missouri students that don't know anything about Kansas other than they have to drive across state lines so they can place their bets because Mizzou can't figure out how to get sports betting officially legal across the state just yet. So I think that's going to be interesting, but that's what I feel the difference is. It's hatred for Mizzou. K-State, you're more just like annoyed with. Like you are with the little brother that's trying to hang out with you all the time. Doesn't mean you don't love your little brother. Doesn't mean you don't hang out with them. Doesn't mean that he can't one up you from time to time. But overall, you were always annoyed by little brother. And I get Austin. I think it's easy. Take the cop out answer. Just go out and beat both this year. That would be like I posed that to you guys last week. If KU missed a bowl game, but they beat K-State and Mizzou this year, regardless of how the rest of the season goes. It's a win.
I'd be so happy.
I'd be happy. That's more than a bowl win for me. Beating both of them.
I will say this.
The bowl win.
I'm kidding.
Well, in terms of like the old heads, like me and Keegan and JB, right? Mizzou means more, but like Austin, you're a relatively younger guy, right? You were in diapers in 2010, so like you don't grasp the how big this rivalry is, right? So
yeah,
I actually got a chance to go to the press conference yesterday, actually, with all the coordinators and the players and stuff. And I actually asked Calvin Clements this. Calvin Clements went to Lawrence Free State, right? He's grown up in Lawrence his entire life. I asked him what it means to him. He's like, dude, not really that much. He was like, last time we played against him, I was 6 years old. So he's like, I always, to him, as a Lawrence native and now a KU starting left tackle, K-State was always the biggest rival. So the kids in college don't fully grasp how big this is, right? It takes some of the old heads like us to kind of explain it, right? And Lance had even said at that press conference too, they put together a video and they had like Daryl Stuckey and a number of different players from way back in the day telling them like, hey, like, I know you guys don't know this, but we lived through this. We played against these guys. We don't like them at all, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they're basically, it's like, hey, I'm friends with K-State guys. I can't be friends with a Missouri guy, right? I don't see one redeemable quality of any of them. And that's how these old heads think. The new kids, they just hear stories, right? But we've lived it.
Yeah, I know you guys said it in one of your shows, but one of the, I mean, Don Fambro's got a long list of reasons he hates Mizzou and some great, if he were still here today with us to have this conversation, the amount of things he could share. But one of my favorite ones I've heard in the last week from him was, he was really sick, and the only doctor that could help him was Missouri side. And he was like, nah, I'd rather die. I'd rather go out dying than have a Missouri doctor treat me. Like, that's how deep the hatred goes. And that's just one of the many things he said. Yeah. And that's why I should have gotten David Lawrence on this week, because the amount of stories that he would share with anybody on KU Mizzou. But to your point, the guys today just don't grasp it the same. And I think in sports in general, and this is probably just the culture of American sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, you're on these traveling teams all the time. You don't really, we don't even see it as much in the NBA now, where you have these rivalries in the NBA. These guys are all buddies. You get beat down by 35 in an NBA game, they're dapping each other up. Yo, man, what's up? No, back then, Kobe was taking it personal. Kobe was pissed off. He wouldn't look you in the face if you beat him, because the next time he goes out there, he's beating you by 50. And of course, Jordan before us. It's definitely a different day and age in sports, especially with kids changing school every year. There's really there's no loyalty to a fan base. Even if they grew up a certain fan, like you said, Calvin growing up in Lawrence, KU guy, of course, but even growing up in Lawrence, it's just been K-State. So it's completely different. I don't know how much of that's actually going to impact the game from a football standpoint. It'll certainly impact the fan experience and those watching. Which, quick shout out, I thought this was really cool that KU's hosting a watch party at the booth Saturday. So if you don't have plans, definitely go. It's free, so go down to the booth. You still have to registre that you're planning to go. Right where Austin's standing. He's standing there in the bowl, the old bowl. That's about where you were sitting the first game, though. Right there.
Yeah, this was where I was sitting. This was at the Fresno State game. It was great. The planes, they flew right over me. It was awesome.
See the guys parachuting right on top of your head.
They came down right on top of me. It was awesome. So
go check out the game at the booth. They're gonna have festivities, activities around for you and the kiddos. Great day for the family to go out and check it out. But 2:30 kickoff, the history is gonna come back. I'm sure Mizzou's gonna put together some intense, pregame video. I'm hoping KU still puts out a couple more things the next couple of days just to kind of get you fired up. But Saturday it's gonna go down 6-point spread right now. You guys have kind of already alluded to, I guess, JB, I didn't get your take, but JB, what's one of the things Kansas has to do to pull off the upset and take game one of this rivalry renewed?
It's a good question. We had in the comments way earlier, I want to say it was Bob that put it out there, but I didn't see. 0 interceptions by JD. There it is. Yeah. 0 interceptions by JD would be phenomenal. I mean, stuff like that, you can say that goes without saying. But so far, we've seen a different JD6 this season. I think in the past seasons, we've seen a little bit pass-happy JD6. I think we've seen a little bit poor decision-making JD6. Phenomenal playmaker JD6 at times, but a little bit too overeager at times as well. If we can limit our turnovers and just stick to our game plan, I really feel like that's all it's going to take, because I think we have the better quarterback. You look at these matchups, and it's anytime you look at a football matchup, one of the questions you got to ask is, who has the better quarterback? I'm currently watching the latest season of Quarterback. I'm a little bit behind. I know it's been out for a little while. I'm currently watching the latest season of Quarterback on Netflix, which I know is NFL based, not college based, but it's such that position. You could have an entire hour-long podcast on just the amount of impact that the quarterback plays on that football field. It is the most important position. That's no secret, but the sheer magnitude of how important that position is can never be understated. And we have the better quarterback. We have a guy who has turned around this program in such a way that we will never look back. He's a generational quarterback for this program, and I fully believe in him now. You can call it the hype train or whatever. We're coming up on game time, and I am locked and loaded. I fully believe, as long as we can stay to our game plan, limit turnovers to a goose egg, 0, I think we'll be in a very,
Especially
very
on
good
the road.
position.
You cannot turn the
Yeah.
ball over on the road and give
Well, that's
them
the thing.
freebies.
We'll be on the road. I feel like you have to lock in when you're on the road. You can't get rattled. If we get rattled, that's it. If we go down, I feel like in the last 2 years, we've had so many games where we started down multiple touchdowns and then stormed back to win the game. I don't want to go down multiple touchdowns against Mizzou and then we won't be able to hear the end of it from their students. And the whole crowd's just going to be insane. Like we cannot get into that position. That'd be detrimental to our success for
it's
sure.
kind of funny. I was just thinking about this as you were talking. Last year really did a number on the fan base when it comes to confidence in this team's fight. Like Jeff Grimes, again, we're everybody wants to give him 100% of the blame, whether it's fair or not. He's getting a large portion of the blame for last year, but the way those games went took so much confidence out. Like one of the things I think people forget is since Leipold's taken over, and again, I always love to talk about Matt Gildersleeve because I think he's such a huge piece of KU's culture and why they're successful. This team has been a team that is locked in no matter the situation of the game. They're never out. If they get punched, they get kicked down on the mat, they get back up and they fight and claw their way back. Last year did such a number on us, though, that I think there's a large chunk of the fan base that maybe doesn't have doubt, but goes, man, is this team going to be locked in? Whereas me, I'm sitting here thinking this team's going to be more locked in than Mizzou this weekend. I think Mizzou's got, we said it earlier, who's got more on the line this week? I think Mizzou's got more to lose this game than Kansas does. If KU loses this game, Mizzou gets to hang it over us. That's it. So from the rivalry standpoint, sure. But KU season, still full steam ahead, still potentially going for a Big 12 championship, has really no ramifications on their college football playoff chances. But if Mizzou goes out and loses by a lot, loses by a little, not that their season's over, but they're gonna stumble. This is a much bigger game for them because they're already further ahead.
No, I'm kidding. They'll do way better than
Could you imagine that spiral?
That would be funny.
That would be all time. You lose to your rival and lose the rest of the way. My goodness. Yeah. I don't think it gets worse than that.
No, I the reason why I said 1-11, there was a little post and it said, "Hey, look, here's Mizzou's, schedule. How do you think they're going to do the rest of the season?" And then I commented 1-11.
That's going to rile up more.
Just being funny. I don't know if you guys saw this. Coach Drinkwitz actually said that Mizzou has never played anyone like JD. I don't know if that's. I'm getting this from PowerMizzou.com. They tweeted this out. They said. Drinkwitz says Mizzou has never played anyone like Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels. Wow.
Trying to think through their schedule. There's not a ton of SEC quarterbacks that are your dual threat style. A lot of them are more that pocket passer, pro style. Did they not play Jalen Milroe?
Better than JD in the option either.
Yeah. I'd say the next closest thing maybe the last couple of years in the SEC, maybe Jalen Milroe, more of a running threat than – not that JD's not a running threat, but they didn't do as much option. It was more QB design runs. It's a good testament. Again, talented. We know JD's got all the talent in the world, and Bob's thrown up there. Kind of reminds me of young Patrick Mahomes. I think there's obviously that's easy to say because we see Patrick Mahomes every week out here too. They do have some similarities with the way they navigate the game and their athleticism. If he becomes anything close to what Patrick Mahomes is, then he's going to be great in the NFL next year. So if he's even 50% of that this year, our chances are great.
I was saying, did you guys see that on the official Mizzou athletics website? They're lowercasing the K in Kansas.
They're not.
Did you see this? Mm-hmm. You swear, go to Mizzou Athletics or MU Athletics. I don't know what the name is, but any preview that they have of Kansas, they caps the ANSAS and then they lowercase the K on the official website.
That's a bold move. That's a bold journalism.
That's so childish, dude. That's really childish.
It's petty. I know.
Well, let's see.
It just feels the hatred more for this game.
I'm looking at it right now. Hang on. Let me see if I can
as someone who works in film and media, that really pisses me off.
Yeah, it's corny. I mean, it's absolutely corny. It's ridiculous.
Oh
The official. I mean, I understand. Students are going around putting X's on the M's around, campus and that kind of thing. But this is their official website. Look at Austin. Look at the the press conferences. It says Bo Prabula or Eli Drinkwitz or whoever previewing Kansas, and the K is
God, it is real. It says, okay, so the title for the Drinkwitz one, it says FB Eli Drinkwitz previews, lowercase K, all caps,
Kansas.
What is that? Come on, man.
That's so disrespectful. That's
loser stuff.
Oh my gosh.
No wonder why we don't like
that's even below K-State.
I mean, I don't really care, but I mean, it's just petty. But
that's like calling your teacher by their first name because you want to piss them off. That's like not shaking the hand of I don't know, your boss on the day you meet them or something. I don't know. It's just super disrespectful. I don't know.
It just adds fuel to the fire. I was going to say this about JD, and Dan, you've talked about it too on your shows. JD's been so locked in this year that he's going to add that. That's going to be fuel to the fire. If he sees the disrespect, man, hey, come on, bring as much disrespect on us as you want. Wait till the turf hits the toes on Saturday, and we'll really put this into play, because that's just more fuel to the fire. You don't do that. You don't put gasoline on an already burning fire.
That's true.
100%. Right. Yeah. I mean, with Jalen, like you were saying, he's more locked in than he was last year. I mean, you look at those, granted, the first 4 games is really the sample size you're looking at, right? Where he had whatever it was, 8 interceptions, that kind of thing. He was trying to play hero ball. He was trying to force stuff, right? Stupid passes. And then he's absolutely locked in. We're seeing a completely different Jalen Daniels. That's why whenever we talk about in the offseason about KU football on our show, we very rarely ever bring up Jalen Daniels, because he is the constant, right? It's like, all right, we know we got JD. Now let's talk about the other stuff that we're not quite sure about, but we know we got JD, right? He's in our back pocket. This is his last year. He understands that as well as every single person in that Kansas locker room. So it's just whenever you talk to him in those press conferences, the coaches even brought this up too, about how he's not as, happy-go-lucky, messing around, big personality kind of guy. He's laser focused, locked in every single time.
Yeah.
Shows the growth too as a leader. He knows that last year really screwed things up for what the program should have been. And a lot of his teammates, like we said, there's probably very few guys that are associated to the Kansas football program that are more disappointed they can't play in this game than guys like Devin Neal, Jared Casey, the 2 that come to mind the most, that they don't get to play in this game. And I think JD, the leader he's become, knows that we're not – it's the same thing that Bill Self said of, hey, this national championship was for those 2020 guys. They deserve to be here. They didn't – that opportunity was stolen from them. Jeff Grimes stole that opportunity away from Devin Neal, Jared Casey last year by ruining our offense and ruining the season. JD, not saying that he's putting the team on his back and he feels it's his responsibility, but I think he understands the magnitude of what this game can be and what implications it has on the rest of the season. Because yes, KU wins this game. They go in and beat a rival team on their home turf in a hostile SEC environment. That's going to springboard KU for the rest of the season. The jokes of people going, oh, KU's going to go 10-2, 9-3, that we're half laughing at in our season predictions. You're going, if KU goes in and beats Mizzou on the road, and they're sitting here 3-0 the start of the season, and they take one of K-State, Texas Tech, and Utah, if not 2 of those, 10-2 is a very realistic outcome. Big 12 championship, college football playoff. So, not to get too far ahead of it, because but that's the implications of this game. If KU wins, KU loses, it doesn't change anything. They're still going to be a good football team. We still think they're going to win 6+ games and go to a bowl game and still potentially win the Big 12 championship, or at least get an appearance there. But they win this game and it really springboards their season. But let's try and wrap up here. Dan, give me 1 or 2 X factors or key players that could make a big impact in this game, especially when you're missing a guy like Bengali Kamara on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'll stick with that linebacker spot, right? I thought Trey Lathan played a phenomenal game against Wagner. Now, granted, it's Wagner, right? I mean, but Trey Lathan also, he was flying around, fired up, man. He had the most tackles out of anybody on that defensive side of the ball. He's going to have to come up big because you don't have Bengali Kamara, you don't have Joe Sipp still, and Jason Gilliam's probably not going to play either. You have 3 scholarship linebackers who are going to be sitting out for this game. So I'm going to go with Trey Lathan. I'm going to also go with another guy, just the other linebacker, right? Because the depth is not there. So you're going to have a big game out of the 2 guys in Trey Lathan and John Kamara. John Kamara has been constantly talked about as the best athlete on this Kansas squad. We didn't even get to see his full potential in that Wagner game because he got taken out by that targeting call, right? That absolutely sucked because I wanted to see John get those in-game reps before a big game like Mizzou where he's going to have to step up big. So I think those 2 guys, and back to my point about, that's where I think the game is going to be won or lost is in that rush defense. Those 2 guys are going to have to come up big and plug those holes. I think that's going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Linebackers, the biggest question mark, but the also biggest potential of impact on the game. I think we're going to see a lot of Devin Dye down in the box too.
Yes.
DK McDonald's been running some interesting defensive schemes, so we could see the 3-3-5, the 3-2-6. You could see a lot more safety coverage on the field, guys that are those hard hitting, quick to the line of scrimmage. Because KU does have a decent amount of depth in their secondary. Now, a lot of it's newer, slightly inexperienced, but they've got some key transfer guys, Trey Lathan being there at the linebacker spot. But Devin Dye's been solid to start the year so far. I think he's taken on the leadership role of that back end pretty well. But I think this is a game where you see his IQ and his physicality up at the line of scrimmage. I think defensively on that line, like this to me screams DJ Withers, Tommy Dunn need to have a big presence in pushing the line back, whether they're getting the sack, whether they're getting a tackle, they got to do something to keep Pribula in the pocket, close his vision. They got to keep the running back behind the line of scrimmage, push those guys back into him, and really create that pressure to start so that guys like Dean Miller can come off the edge and make a big time play. KU's had it every 3 or 4 straight seasons now where they've had big time outside edge rushing ability, and I think a lot of that, granted, has been to talent for sure, but has been credit to this defensive interior that's been keeping the pocket pushed back and giving them opportunities to rush long enough to get to the quarterback. So that's where I'm looking. Offensively, we saw Emmanuel Henderson really break out last week. We'd love to see some of that again. We saw Cam Pickett continue to kind of be the go-to guy when it's important. Now, again, I don't take a ton from the offense against Wagner because they didn't really break it open despite the fact that they scored a lot. But looking at this week, I think this is a big week for the tight ends. You're going up against a tough defensive line that's probably going to close the amount of time JD has to kind of roll around and work. So I think having that security blanket underneath Deshaun Hanukkah, having him back is huge. Super athletic tight end. Super glad to see him get in the end zone last week. But I think you're going to see the tight ends mix in quite a bit. And not that they're going to have to dink and dunk their way to first downs and to get down the field, but find the guy who can go the 5-6 yards. And a guy like Hanukkah who's athletic enough to make a guy miss, runs like a wide receiver, get him in open space and give JD some options there so he's not always having to go for the long ball and hopefully not running around crazy. Establish the run game early. When Highshaw's cooking, I think he reminds me a lot of Isaiah Pacheco. He's just a bull in the china shop, head down, run forward, hard to tackle. When he's angry and he's running angry, he does some serious damage. So hopefully
running into trash cans.
Running into trash cans. But any other thoughts, ahead of this game? Things we've missed?
I've got one thing I'm curious about. I want to get everyone's take on this. What year was it when Baker Mayfield came to Kansas? There was this whole no handshake deal.
Plants the flag.
What was
the same year he planted the flag?
So we didn't we go up to
we almost
the
won
coin
that game
toss.
too.
We didn't shake. Yeah, we did. We didn't shake his hand, and it was this whole viral moment of not even shaking his hand. And yeah, we should have won that game. Honestly,
we were in his. I think I was at that game. We were in his head for
first half.
Yeah,
that was crazy. So so flashback to that moment. do we have a moment like that where we go to the coin toss against Mizzou, and do we just put our hands behind our backs and not shake hands? Do we?
I
do
don't.
that?
I don't think we see it with the players. Now, does
No, I
Lance,
wouldn't do
does
that. 'Cause
Lance
it's gonna
give
start a
the
whole meme, and I don't want to. No.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
does Lance give the brush by
Fine.
to drink pregame or something? I don't know. I mean, even Lance
start
said
a
like, "Hey,
meme,
I
bro.
didn't know much
I
about
wouldn't.
this rivalry until I got here, but there might be a little bit of something." But I don't think it would come from the players. I don't think that's how
Hmm.
KU operates. Now, could there be
Okay.
like some moments in the game, like let's say JD gets a big third down run for a first and he looks to that sideline, maybe I could see some of that mid game, or a big tackle. I think we'll see that, but I don't think we'll see the intentionality like, hey, I'm gonna, you beamed our guy last inning, so I'm throwing this one right at your back this inning. I don't think we're going to see anything like that, because the players just don't have any reason for it. There's no bloodshed between them right now to
So you don't
warrant
even
that.
think like there's a chance that maybe a fight breaks out, or
It's possible. I mean, I think
Between
we're
fans,
level-headed.
Between fans,
between-
sure, that
sure,
can
but like-
happen in the stands.
Yeah.
but not between the players. You don't think?
I mean,
I don't think
I think
so.
Lance has gotten
unless
them
unless
pretty.
there's like a late hit.
What would happen?
Sure, like that's a good scenario where Lance. I could see Lance getting super fired up because Mizzou lays a late hit on JD running out of bounds, fires up KU sideline, fires Lance up, and then next time out maybe Dean Miller sacks Pribula a little harder than he should. I could maybe, but that's I think the most we'll see. All right, let's wrap up with this because we've gone longer than I planned, which we usually do on these lives. But shout out to the 145 of you with us still right now. We appreciate all of you guys. Again, make sure you hit that like button if you're over here on YouTube, so more KU fans will find it over the next 24 to 48 hours ahead of kickoff. But let's wrap up with predictions. And those of you watching YouTube, Twitter, feel free to send your predictions into JB. Since you are my top right on my screen, I will start with you.
Okay. I don't know if this is going to be a high scoring game. I mean, that's my biggest battle right now, is because I could see a scenario where defensively both teams are just failing. But I can also see the exact opposite, where it's just a grinded out tough game. I think where I've kind of settled is I've settled at 34-31 Kansas.
So you have it high scoring.
I do.
Nice.
All right, Austin, let's go to you.
Okay. Well, the last time I said this specific score about predicting a certain game, it was back in 23, and I mentioned it earlier as the K-State game, and I said this exactly, 31-27 KU, and it ended up being 31-27 K-State. So I don't want to say 31-27, but it does feel like this game's going to end up being like a 31-27 game. But I'm going to change it up just a little bit, and I'm going to go with oh boy, you know what? If it's 31-27 Missouri, okay, I'm never going to say 31-27 again. I'm just going to say 31-27 KU. I'm going to stick with that. But that's what I've been feeling all week long. I mean, if KU's going to win, it's going to be that score. Give me 31.
Both of you guys taking the high scoring. The over-under on this is only 50.5. That has gone down slightly since where it opened. KU's now 6.5 point dog, by the way. But Dan, what's your take?
I am going to go the opposite of you guys, not in the win column, but also in the under, right? I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think Mizzou is going to try to run the ball quite a bit because I think they understand that KU, we have a lack of depth at that linebacker position, so they're going to be trying to hammer those holes up front really hard all game long, right? And I kind of thought the same thing with the Fresno State game. Now, obviously, I was wrong about that. But this game, I can feel it being just a grinded out. Give me 20-15 Kansas. I think that they go for a 2-point conversion. It feels to me like a 5-point game, 20-15.
20-15.
I like that.
It. It's different. I too am more on the lower scoring side. I think you have to get to minimum 20 if you're KU to win this game. So I have it more of it's close fourth quarter. KU goes up 24-20 late fourth quarter, And despite last year's fourth quarter collapses, KU's defense holds out just long enough for Mizzou to go for it on fourth when maybe they have enough time to kick a field goal and figure something out. And, Pribula overthrows for a touchdown. So KU wins it 24-20. We stormed the field back in Lawrence. I don't know. I mean, you're already going to be sitting on the field, but maybe the goalpost gets torn down. I mean, it seems fair. But yeah, I got 24-20. Did you guys know? I know that was one thing. Just quick side note. As soon as the game was over, the first game, and maybe this was intentional because like they wanted to, for memoriam or something. Yeah. But they took the north end zone goalpost down like within 30 seconds of the game ending. Unclicked it, laid it down, and detached it. So obviously they have detachable, goalposts, which we already knew that. But I just found that interesting. I'd never seen that before, where we obviously weren't going to storm. Maybe they thought that there was a part of the fan base that because it's the first game in the new booth, we were going to storm the field, which just would have felt weird. But that was just something I noticed, that they took the goalpost down immediately. I don't know if that happened with the Wagner game or not, but yeah, that'll about wrap it up for predictions here. Shout out Jayhawk Edits always. What did Daniel eat for dinner? Ooh, usually it's the Austin. What was your go-to dinner? But Dan, what did you have tonight?
I had limestone pizza actually on Mass Street. After work, I walked out of Kansas Nation, met my girlfriend up there. I've been craving pizza for quite a bit. But yesterday, my girlfriend made a roast because we were just feeling like, man, it's fall. That's a perfect fall meal. We had some little baby carrots in there. But yeah, limestone pizza, man, margarita pizza with little wedge salad.
Let's go. It's almost.
She sounds like a keeper.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Sounds like a keeper, Dan.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. She's
Dude, a roast? Are you kidding me?
I know. Isn't it crazy? Yeah. I know.
That's a fancy adult meal.
4 years, and we've graduated from like frozen chicken nuggets all the way to roast. It's great.
You're growing up. You're growing up. Austin's out of the diapers he was in 2010, and Dan's having full cooked adult meals now. Well, let's wrap up there. Dan, appreciate you for coming on, taking the time to do this. Again, just quickly, tell us a little bit. Kansas Nation, what is it? Where is it? How do we find it? Why do I need it? Give me more.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Look us up on all the socials at the Kansas Nation. We're posting stuff constantly. Check us out on YouTube. Right now, that's the only place you can find our shows. We're working on getting them on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that kind of thing. So that's kind of a work in progress as we speak. But yeah, no, check us out. We're on 916 Mass Street. Got a really cool place. We actually like I said, 810 kind of owns us, and they bought the old scoreboard from Allen Fieldhouse that led to the tunnel. So that's our backdrop. It's really, really cool. We got a signed
quick side note on that. That scoreboard, JB, I don't know if you were at this game, you'll remember this from our days at KU. There's that photo where the Bucks guys are sitting right above the scoreboard hitting it.
Yes.
That scoreboard is from when our fraternity guys on the cover of whatever ESPN stuff that was. Same exact scoreboard.
That's crazy. Yeah. And that was the one time that we got Group 1. Oh, so awesome.
I got Group 1 for UConn 2 years ago. That was insane.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild. But, yeah, check us out. KansasNation.com. We're live every day from 4 to 6. So, check out our show if you're in Kansas City. Check us out on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. We're going to be all over the place.
Yep. And I look forward to come checking out the studio here soon and seeing the progress. But again, we'll wrap up there. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you're listening to us on Spotify later, you can give the podcast a 5-star review. Give us a follow. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at KCSA Pod. You guys can give us a follow there. Send us all of your game predictions throughout the rest of this week. I don't know if we'll have a game reaction post-game Saturday or not yet, but we'll certainly be talking about it, win or loss, afterwards. So make sure you come back and check us out for all that. And again, thank you to everybody that has stuck around this whole time, the 150 of you that are here right now. We appreciate that. Appreciate those of you getting into the comment section as well. But that'll wrap it up on this one. We will catch you guys in the next episode. Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk.